Nestled in rural Lancashire, a stone's throw from the West Yorkshire border is Trawden, which some locals call the UK's kindest village. Now, I like to think that I do my bit for goodwill, but the locals here have taken that to a whole other level. Through kindness, dedication and a whole heap of volunteering, the community here has really stepped up to keep this village thriving. Stephen Wilcock was key to these efforts, so I'm keen to find out how it all started.
Well, it was in 2014 and I was on the parish council, and we were told by our local authority that they were going to close the community centre in the September of that year, unless a community group were prepared to form and take it over. And so on the back of that we called a public meeting. From that we formed a small committee of 10 people at the time. So in the October of that year we took over the keys, and 2 or 3 of us were stood outside thinking, oh my goodness, what have we done?
The building was in a terrible state, so Stephen sent out an SOS.
We needed to spruce the place up, so we put word out in the village. If anybody got a spare paintbrush and some time, please come along. And I think 12 people turned up that first morning. And I think we knew we were onto a winner then, because all these people were volunteers.
And off the back of the success of the community centre, the locals didn't waste any time when they learned the neighbouring council-run building was set to close.
We put a business plan in, and long story short, they accepted it, and we took the building in 2018. And 80 days later, we reopened the library and opened a community volunteer-led shop.
It gives me the greatest pleasure to declare Trawden Forest Community Library and Shop well and truly open.
And I mean, there she is now in all of her glory, and she's still completely volunteer-run?
Completely volunteer-run.
What the people of Trawden did with their community centre, library and shop is known as community asset transfer. A process where the ownership of public buildings or land is transferred to a community group, often at less than full market value. I think you really have something here to be proud of. I mean, I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. I might be moving in next week.
Well, you'll be very welcome.
What impresses me most is the people power that keeps it going. All 150 of them. It certainly keeps volunteer coordinator Molly Ralphson busy.
We have 100 volunteers of those 150 who I'd say are sort of regular volunteers. Some people volunteer in the library and the shop and the community centre. We need a lot of volunteers every week to keep the shop open, and that's just the front of house. That's just serving and stocking shelves, not mentioning everything that goes on behind the scenes.
150 volunteers is absolutely massive. What do you think people are getting out of it?
People make friends here, build new skills, but yeah, mostly I think people really enjoy it.
Yeah, like it recharges your batteries. And someone who needed recharging was volunteer Zara Hill during a really hard time in her life.
So I lost my boyfriend at Christmas, and it was a way for me to kind of get back into a bit of normal, really, and a new normal, really, to be honest.
How are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. And how's yourself?
I'm good, thanks. I'm now back at work, and it's kind of just helped me get into that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What was it about volunteering? Because you could have done anything, but instead you chose to help other people.
I just felt like it needed to have a bit of purpose. I think I needed something where I was like moving my body, talking to people, rather than just sitting inside. And all of the volunteers are amazing.
And many of these volunteers have similar reasons for signing up, like Michael, who gives up a bit of time each week to help out in the shop.
I actually started my volunteering journey when my wife was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And of course Carol's condition got worse. We got some extra carers in and I did some respite. And I came in here for 2 hours on a Friday afternoon. And it got me out of the house from caring, and it helped. And the community of Trawden's fantastic. And they put their arms around me and I want to give it back.
I think that's absolutely beautiful, this incredible spirit of community. Would you recommend volunteering to anybody else out there?
Yes, definitely.
The shop has certainly been a lifeline for Michael, but so was the friendship group that's held at the community centre every fortnight. So I popped in to meet them.
Well, they make the group. They're truly amazing.
It's the volunteers that make it.
You couldn't afford to pay people to come and do the work they do.
But for community centre volunteer Di Glosia, payment comes in a different form.
Seeing all these laughing faces, people smiling, people chatting to each other, truly enjoying themselves. That's why I've been here for as long as I have been, and love it, adore it.
You don't want to volunteer here, do you?
I'm 2.5 hours drive away, but I might be able to do it on my Sundays if I've got nothing on. As if all these community spaces weren't enough, in 2021 Trawden took on their biggest challenge yet, the last remaining pub. But the only way to save it was to buy it outright. And believe you me, that's an expensive round.
So it was for sale for £450,000, so the community club together, people from all over this area and all over the world in fact bought shares, and we raised the £450,000 to buy it, so we've got 420 community shareholders. It felt such a great achievement.
Would you recommend what you've done here in Trawden to other villages?
Oh, most definitely, yes. I'd recommend if you've got the last pub in the village closing, then do try and register it as a community asset and try and buy it through community shareholding. Similar, if the last shop in the village is closing, it's definitely worth a try.
There's no mistaking the positive impact that these community-led efforts have had throughout the village. But here in Trawden, that spirit of volunteering isn't just something that people do every now and again. It's how the village works. And after seeing what's possible when a community pulls together, that's proper feel-good stuff.
Jack's right, isn't he? Rebecca Wilcox was saying yesterday about taking action in your community.